afterward and still get out of here well before the witching hour. If anyone would like to speak at the open forum session, please post your name in chat. We'll go ahead and get a list together. When that item comes up, we'll call you. Again, we're going to ask you to limit it to 2 minutes tonight because of the length of the program.
You have experienced probably every single possible emotion in the last 24 hours. What are you going to remember most about Tokyo? I'm just going to remember that everything I went through and how every day felt it just spirits of the very end. You have an opportunity now to say goodbye to your family.
Joey, I muted you because there was a lot of television noise. You can unmute yourself when you want to be heard.
Can you hear me?
Unmute me. It's 7 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know a few folks will come in after we get going, but we have to try and get this in under the wire so people are not sleep deprived tomorrow. Welcome to the Mira Mesa Town Council meeting. I'm your president, Barry Vaz. I see Jeff Stevens, Kanchan. Who else is here from our board? Jonathan, looking at the names as they move. I see Daniela's here. I think that's it at the moment. As others come in, we'll let you know they're here. The first item for tonight is if we have any of our first responders present. So if we have anyone from SDPD or San Diego Fire Department, please let me know that you're here. Okay, if they come in later, we will make a time for them someplace in the agenda. We are going to go ahead and take the vote for approval of the minutes from the June meeting. That has been on the website for a while. If anyone has any questions or corrections to those minutes, let us know right now, or we will go ahead and just accept them as written. Okay, we're going to accept those as written. We have a space in here for President's Report, but given the length of tonight's presentation, I'm going to bypass that. If we have time at the end, I might make some remarks. We're going to move right on to our first presentation. This is the County Department of Parks and Recreation's Epicentre project. And with us, I believe we have Jason Hemmons, Dave Knopp, Dave Norgood, Marcus Lubick, and Brandon Schroeder. I'm not sure who wants to lead off.
Hey, good evening, Barry and members. We also have with us tonight Brian Albright, who is the director of the County of San Diego Department of Parks and Recreation. Brian, I don't know if you want to say anything to kick it off. If not, I'm more than happy to just get going.
I don't want to take any more time than necessary. I just would add, for everybody's benefit, we're happy to be here. We're really excited about this project. And that's why we have so many members of our programming and construction team here to talk about it. So yeah, David, take it away.
All right, thanks, Brian. Am I able to share screen, Barry, or is someone on your side?
You should be able to, yes.
All right, let me just find my slides. Bear with me one moment. All right, are you guys able to see that slide?
Yes.
All right, great. So first, by way of introductions, my name is David Norgard, and I'm the Chief of Development for County Parks. My team is responsible for planning, design, and managing construction for capital projects. On behalf of the team, I'm very excited to speak with all of you tonight about the Mira Mesa Epicentre project. And so with that, we'll get started. Just a couple quick slides tonight. I want to introduce you to the project and kind of what our process is. And hopefully this will be the start of a longer relationship, and we'll be seeing each other again in the future. So just for a little bit of background, I'm sure many of the folks here are familiar with the Epicentre. And in May of this year, our board approved an item to pause and reevaluate several capital projects and redirect funding for those projects to others that better meet the needs of the community, including the Mira Mesa Epicenter project. The city of San Diego owns the Mira Mesa Epicenter. It's located at 8450 Mira Mesa Boulevard. It's an 8,000 square foot youth and teen focused arts and community center. It was originally constructed in 1977 as a library. The facility later transitioned to a youth and teen focused arts center and community center, which ceased operations and has been vacant since about 2016. So our efforts for this project are really a couple fold. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into the facility and do an updated facilities condition assessment. And so we've hired an architect and an engineer team, and they're going to go in and they're going to do a thorough examination of all the bits in the building, including the mechanical, electrical, plumbing. They're going to look for ADA access. They're going to check the windows. They're going to check structural, all that. And that's to give us an idea of what is the condition of the building. The city had performed some condition assessments in the past, but there were specific things that were not included in that scope of work. So we're going to go a little bit further in that, and that will help us determine what the cost may be to remediate any of those. At the same time, we're starting our public outreach phase, and so we will host a series of, or be involved in a series of outreach meetings. We have about 20 stakeholders that we're going to contact and speak with, including you all tonight. And we're also going to host some public meetings, what you would see in a more typical open house style meeting. And so we're going to use the input that we get from the facilities condition assessment and our public outreach to really drive what will be the interior of the building and how we end up programming that space. At the same time, we will seek to enter into a long-term agreement with the city to be the operator and service provider for the building. And then lastly, once that is accomplished, we will rehabilitate and improve the epicenter. And so my team will manage the construction. We'll put out a construction contract to bid and hire a contractor to go in and make those repairs and remediations to bring it up to standard, to bring it up to code, and make it look great inside. And then our team will provide recreational programming out of that space. And so just by way of a quick timeline, here we go. So here we are, very beginning, early days. We're starting our outreach. We're going to do that and the condition assessment for the next couple months. Our design will get started in earnest this fall when we have the results of our facilities condition assessment and our public outreach. And the design phase will take us about a year. So we have time in there for permitting through the city and various agencies. And then we'll go into construction. And we think that could take between 9 months and a year, depending on what the level of effort is needed in the building. And we'll refine these timelines as we get into design and the facility condition assessment and we understand what's in there. So that's a quick overview. And I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Brandon Schrader, to talk about some of the potential programming in the building.
Thanks, David. So obviously this has been through some other things in the past and has been used as a youth-focused recreation center for a while in the past. There's still some things yet to be determined through the public outreach. All the public meetings we'll be involved with in the next up and coming months here. But we envision this being a heavy youth and teen focus, especially being right across the street from the high school. We have a couple other teen centers that we've been operating for several years in the county. And some of those things that we do there, we envision doing here as well. And sorry, I'm going to back up for a second. I apologize, I didn't introduce myself. But Brandon Schrader, I'm one of the region managers. I'm on the operations side of the county Parks and Rec department. So that the Mira Mesa, the epicenter, would fall within my region. Sorry for not stating that off the bat. But with some of the other youth and teen focused programs we do, both in our community centers and teen centers, and through our SD Nights program, which is a region-wide teen program, we see a lot of that happening here. This is a great spot for some of those same kind of things. On a daily basis, that means things like after school drop-in programs with activities being held there, focused on one, homework assistance, school, career counseling, those kind of things. You know, we'd have staff that kind of serve as mentors for those young people that would come into the center on a daily basis. And we'd have some more structured events and classes and activities like health and wellness events, community gardening. We thought this would be a good potential opportunity with healthy cooking and community gardening programs. We see a lot of collaboration with the local schools, again, especially the high school right across the street, being involved in many of the popular community events that take place there. That could include, you know, like high school athletic events, having activities in conjunction with those. You know, the annual, the parade that's coming up in October. I'm sorry, the 4th of July parade, and then the event in October. There's holiday programs that we do here that I think that would work very well in this venue as well. What am I forgetting? Pardon me. Oh, and then our SD Nights program, which I could get into a little bit more if you'd like, but this could serve as a great location for that program. And then also it's something where we operate activities where we take kids on outdoor trips, both day trips and overnight camping trips, a lot of things to get them out into the natural environment and experience that. So that's just, you know, a few things that we've thought about. Again, a lot to be determined on what we hear from you all and everyone else in the community, the future users of the Epicenter. In general, I think us and everyone around here is excited to see it with some life in it again. And with that, I'll pass it back over to Dave.
Yeah, well said, Brandon. I think we're all really excited for that. And so last but not least, how can you help? We want to hear from you. Stay informed. Check out our webpage. Sign up for updates. You can contact Marcus Lubitsch, whose phone and email address is here on the screen. We will come out with a survey. And so that'll be a digital survey that you can take, or hard copies if you need that, for some of the programming and things that we want to see inside the building that Brandon touched on. And we'll be sending out updates. So we have social media and all of those links. So we really do want to get as much public input as possible. And so we'll mail our survey out very broad around the facility to make sure we capture as many people as possible and get as many points of view as possible. And like I mentioned, we have a list of more than 20 stakeholders that we're reaching out to in the area to make sure that we do get a real good diverse mix of folks that we end up talking to. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if there's any questions that anybody had, we'd be happy to walk through those with you.
I know that you have detailed a lot of the county programs and those revolving around youth. My understanding, though, is that there will be opportunities for other community uses, which is going to be part of the survey that goes out. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, Barry, and that's a good point to make. We focus a lot on the services that we offer, kind of our core bread and butter services, but we're absolutely interested in hearing what the community needs and how we can meet those needs.
Excellent.
I have a question, Terry Ng. How will you let like the town council and the community know about your meetings that are coming up to just talk about it?
But you know what, that's a great question. So we'll do some passive work. So we'll put this on our social media, and if anybody wants to get onto a mailing list, you can let Marcus know. In addition, we will proactively reach out to the town council and let you folks know of upcoming meetings, whether it be with this group or other stakeholders as well.
With your slideshow, your info that you'd put up there for contact went really fast. Is there any way you could put that in the chat so that we can have it?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a great idea. Thank you for that.
So I have a comment. Have you interacted with Jeff Sabins, the principal of Mira Mesa High School yet?
No, he is on our to contact list. You're the first group that we've reached out to and spoken with. But over the next couple of weeks, we're going to reach out to many organizations. And if anybody can think of them, please drop them in the chat or let us know.
Yeah, that's a particularly important one, of course, since you're going to be teen focused, and that's where all the teens are. So, and the last teen center actually got off to kind of a rough start because there was a strong-willed principal at Mira Mesa High School and a strong-willed person at Harmonium who was operating the teen center, and they butted heads. So I don't think that'll happen this time. Jeff's a good guy who's very unlikely to act the same way. I think we'll get along just fine with him.
Yeah, that's good background. Thank you.
I have a question. Do you have a list of are we going to find out who the stakeholders are? Are they all in Mira Mesa, or are there some stakeholders that are outside of Mira Mesa?
You know what? I do have a list, and I'd be happy to share that. I can send that over to Barry. Most, but not all, are actually in Mira Mesa. We're trying to really drill into the community as much as we can, but I'd be happy to send that over.
Thank you.
Can I ask one more question? What about other types of activities? Mira Mesa Town Council meetings, for example, or theater productions. Do you anticipate having those kinds of things in the center?
Yeah, I think those are, is that right if I take that one, David?
Yeah, no, please do.
I think those are all, I mean, we're an open book as far as what can happen there. We're starting with a clean slate right now. It's arts programs are things that are, I mean, this is a great spot for that to happen. We've done other things like poetry events and, a small theater program. I mean, that seemed like things that would be a great fit here. And then something else that could be done with some collaboration with the high school as well. And then you mentioned the town council meetings. Another idea with some of the youth focused programs, especially the high school age group, is getting a group of kids in programs about community involvement and leadership that encourages them to get involved in those kind of meetings, encourage people to get involved with and attend town council meetings, rec council meetings, those kind of things, and gear them up to be more of an active participant in their community. We would definitely like to see some kind of that youth leadership program take place here.
Yep. So would we.
Well, you see that your information is in the chat. Anyone who wants to take down that contact information, those links. I know that we're just at the beginning of your outreach, and we encourage everyone with thoughts on what would be a good fit with the Epicenter, what uses would benefit the community. We encourage you to go ahead out there and make your thoughts known. We'll make one more pass if anyone has any questions.
Well, thank you, Barry, and thank you, Town Council, for having us tonight. Like I said, you're the first group we came to speak to. We're all very excited about this project. I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and look forward to speaking with you again.
We'll be back at planning group in 2 weeks, right? So if anyone thinks of questions between now and then, another opportunity.
That's right. Our next stop is the planning group.
And I'd like to thank all of you for being here tonight, for taking the time to speak with us and let us know what the plan is, your thoughts on programming, and for being so welcoming for input from the community. Right.
Thank you for having us.
I see Joe's hand up. We'll close on your question, Joe.
Yeah, I don't really have a question. I just want to thank you guys for investing in our community. We've been trying to do this, and I just want to make sure that you guys can keep the city of San Diego away from our business. So our community can work with you on this project and make it work the way it has to work in our community. You guys are awesome. Thank you for investing in our community, and our community will not let you down.
Guarantee that.
I speak for all of us when I say thank you for that. Very, very much appreciated.
Well, we look forward to having you back sometime in the very near future as the input and the process begin. And I know after tonight's meeting, we're going to have a lot more people sending information. I will, with your permission, take that contact information and put it out through our social media sources and get the whole community involved.
Yes, please. We want to spread the word far and wide.
Excellent. All right, exciting. The Epicenter coming back to life. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to move on now to our next presentation. I see we have one thing to slip in here. Mira Mesa Library Report. I understand, Ina, that you have to head out of your office shortly. The building's closing down, so we're going to let you pop in here between presentations.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Okay. There's a lot going on in the library these days. The first and foremost, I wanted to make sure everyone realized that we have new hours. So on Monday and Tuesday, we are open from 11:30 to 8 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday, 9:30 to 6. So those remain the same. We have not gotten Sunday hours yet, although it looks like that will happen hopefully sometime over the winter. Our capacity remains the same at 50%, which is about 100 people. And so far we haven't been hitting that because it's 100 people at once. We have, 400 to 500 people come through here over the course of the day, but fortunately they don't all come at once. Our lab, our computer lab, and our smaller spaces that are enclosed are not open, but we are taking reservations on a limited basis for our meeting room. Part of the new services that we're able to offer we have a very slow return to in-person programming. So we are starting with a few of our tried and true in-person programs. They will occur at first out on the courtyard, that lovely courtyard we have. We have Pause to Read, the therapy dogs.
One of the pole vaulter got injured because it was raining.
Oh, thank you. Pause to Read, our therapy dogs. It's good for the whole family. The therapy dogs not only listen attentively to children to build their reading confidence, but they're great companions and they're great stress relievers. So if anyone's feeling stressed, come down to the library. That's the first and third Saturday from 11 to 12. We have our chess coming back, fun for all ages. Again, it will take place on the courtyard at first. That's every Thursday, 3 to 5. We will have a craft circle starting up. So if you would like some therapy with a needle or a knitting needle or a crochet hook, come on down and join us. We have 3 special story times happening this month. We're calling them Beyond the Playground because they're actually going to take place in the Mira Mesa Community Park North, in front of the baseball fields in the picnic area, which is where they have the table. So it's between the playground and the baseball fields. They've assured us that there will be open restrooms, and we're all very excited to be able to offer that. And on the 18th, we will again, the theme will be Dog Days of Summer, and we will have the therapy dogs at story time for a meet and greet. So we're very excited about all of that. We have 2 book clubs. One is the band book club, which will meet August 31st virtually. They are reading Winesburg, Ohio by Sherwood Anderson. I'm sorry, my writing is not great. And then August 10th at 6, and that's at 6:30. August 10th at 6:30, we have Bibliomaniacs, which is a community started and kind of run book club, book discussion group that meets here at the library. We'd invite all of you to come to any of that. Any book lover is welcome. The Bibliomaniacs are taking the August 10th meeting to plan out what they'd like to read. Now, this is the town council meeting, obviously, is still virtual. And the band book club is, out of abundance of caution, going to be virtual this month. And we will have other virtual programs still. We are continuing those. We're sort of lowering them and phasing them out. I don't know that we're going to totally get rid of all our virtual programming, but we do have some on August 24th, we have a very exciting virtual program for teens and tweens. We're calling it Trivia Tuesday, and it will be a book discussion group and trivia contest based on the book Ghost by Jason Reynolds for the first 8 people that register. They will get an activity bag that will include a copy of the book. We ask that that be picked up at least a week before the event, so you have a chance to read the book. So the other thing I wanted to mention, and this is, kind of the not so fun stuff, as we open more of the library branches and we get closer to what looks like a normal library experience, so you can come in and browse, we are returning to some pre-pandemic levels of service. When I say that, we're going back to the 40 books max checked out. So a number of folks have been surprised when they come and try to check out a stack of kids books and they have more than 40 at home. We can't do that anymore. If you have overdue items, you won't be fined, but you will be blocked from checking out additional items. And the referrals to the treasurer from the library are beginning. If you have lost items or long overdue items, you might have already received a bill. And so my advice is go through your house and car and make sure that all those books that you collected during the pandemic and held on to for months and months and months have come back to the library. Are there any questions? All right, then I am going to unfortunately have to say goodnight, and I'm going to make my rounds around the library and see if anyone needs help and make sure that everyone knows that by 8 they have to be walking out the door.
And thank you for being here and keeping us updated. We're looking forward to the library being back to something approximating normal.
Oh, so are we. So are we. Thank you for having me. Spread the word. Oh, we also have a special scavenger hunt going on. Check the library Facebook. It's a lot of fun, and it started today, and we've had half a dozen families go through, and everyone giggles and runs around and has a great time. So thank you. Good night.
Good night. I did have one other request due to a schedule conflict. We're going to bump up Evelyn Andrade from Supervisor Tara Lawson-Reamer's office to speak now.
Thanks, Barry. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. For those who I have not met, Evelyn Andrade, she, her, hers, a policy advisor for Supervisor Lawson Reamer. Just have a few quick updates for you. For those of you that don't know, our state's population is aging. We expect that by the end of the decade, 1 in 4 Californians are going to be older adults. And Tara believes that all San Diego residents deserve to age with dignity and respect. And so she's taking action to ensure that the county is preparing for that aging population with a data-driven approach. So aging in place, which means aging in your home, is by far the best practice and most often the preferred option. The alternative is that seniors and our disabled or most vulnerable populations, those that require constant care, will have to leave their homes and enter a skilled nursing facility or rely more heavily on government programs. So the county does already play a key role in helping San Diegans age in place through a program known as In-Home Supportive Services, also known as IHSS. And at the last board meeting, the board unanimously supported Supervisor Lawson Reamer's proposal to do a cost-benefit analysis of our in-home supportive services compared to the alternative traditional care like nursing homes. Tara really believes that the study is going to give us the data that we need to make an informed and proactive decision about where we invest our resources as we prepare for our aging population. So we do need your help. If you or a loved one has ever interacted with IHSS, we'd love to hear about your experience. I will be putting an email address for Amanda in the chat where you can share your story with her. Next, back in February, the supervisor co-authored a bipartisan proposal with Supervisor Anderson to ensure $30 million in federal relief for our small business communities, passed unanimously. And finally, like a month ago, the application portal finally opened. So we need your help with spreading the word. A lot of business owners in our district are still unaware that funding is available. So if you know your local barista or hairdresser or someone who does your nails, please let them know to apply today. I will also put a link in the chat with that information. And lastly, we are working to provide grant funding to support community groups and events that improve our quality of life. A lot of folks in the community don't know that the county does provide significant grant funding to neighborhood groups, nonprofits every single year. And we have 2 grant programs that do that. The first is the Neighborhood Reinvestment Program, and the second is the Community Enhancement Program. These funds can be used for a variety of needs, including events, capital improvements, or ongoing operations. So if you need more information or have any questions, our office is ready and available to help. I'll also put an email address and some links on where you can apply and where you can ask our team questions. As always, we have a lot more to share, so please sign up for our email list if you haven't. We'll also put a link in the chat for that, and my phone number and email if you have any questions, and happy to take any questions if you have any now as well.
I see Jeff.
Yeah, I have a question. So the agent in place is obviously the best first option, but with a lot of elderly people, you can only do that for so long. You know, personal experience with this, my mother had Alzheimer's, and when we kept her in his house, the house she'd lived in for 50 years for as long as we could. But eventually she had to go into a memory care facility, and she was there for 13 years. So those places are, at least our experience with this one, the care was very good, but they're very expensive. And I'm just wondering if the county has any solution for that. Either, you know, a lot of people in her case, we were lucky. She had some long-term care insurance that lasted a few years. She had her house that we could sell. Even at that, all the money was gone, you know, by the time she finally died this last year. And for a lot of people, they wouldn't have those resources at all. So, you know, what do you do when people get to the point where they can't have in-home care and have to go into a memory care type facility and just can't afford it?
And by in-home care, just in your specific situation, like, did you have professional support in home, or are you talking about like family in-home care?
No, in this case, she was just living by herself. I don't think she could have stayed there much longer though, with the mental deterioration she was having.
Yeah. In our case, by in-home supportive services, we mean like having a professional that does go to the home and provides that support. Our theory is that in-home supportive services is going to be cheaper than like a nursing home or a facility like an institutional care. So that's a big reason why we're doing this, is we know that costs are often a big barrier for families as they want to care for their loved ones. And so we're hoping that this is going to give us a support. I can definitely follow up with you separately if you'd like to find out if the county has any programs now available.
Yeah, I mean, the programs you're talking about are very good. I expect in a lot of cases they could allow people to stay at home, a year or two longer. And every case is different, of course, but when you have the kind of mental deterioration that people get in that stage, eventually, you get to the point where they just can't do that even with home help, and have to be have to go to someplace where they can have full-time care.
Yeah, I will definitely bring that feedback back to county staff as they do this study to make sure that those special cases are definitely taken into account as they work on this. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Okay, Evelyn, thank you so much. I appreciate you sticking it out so that you can get to your next meeting. And I just have one request. Someone had asked for the website name in the chat. So if you could put it there, and then I will touch base with you tomorrow and get more information for our website.
Which website?
Let's see, somebody asked about the website name. I think it's for IHSS.
Yes, I'll give you the email for the person on our team who's leading that effort.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
All right. Moving on, we're going to get to the community meeting on water and wastewater rates. Here from Public Utilities, we have Shauna Lawrence, Lisa Celaya, and Lisa Darling.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Celaya, and with me is Shauna Lawrence. And together we wanted to take an opportunity to educate your community and your town council as it relates to the Public Utilities Department's proposal before council on a increase for our wastewater or sewer fees and a pass-through on our water. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. And I'll walk through. I've kind of got about a 15-minute presentation, and I'll leave some time at the very end for any questions. So our intent today and what we wanted to do is kind of walk through what we do, why we're here, give an overview kind of very briefly about the rate setting process, and explain where does our money go, and also why are rate adjustments necessary. Also highlight some cost control measures that we have instituted, go over the proposed rates, and then also educate everybody in regards to ways that the public can participate in this process. So what do we do? For those that are not very familiar with us, we provide wastewater services. Not only do we collect wastewater, the sewer from each of our homes here within the city of San Diego, but we also treat it for the entire region. And in order to do that, we do maintain over 3,000 miles of sewer mains. We operate many facilities, including 82 pump stations, multiple treatment facilities, and then 2 ocean outflows, including the one at Point Loma. On the water side of our house, we do provide water services, clean and safe drinking water every day, and we serve approximately 1.4 million people. And again, that does require us to maintain multiple treatment plants and over 3,000 lines that are separate than our sewer lines. And why are we here today? What we had is we worked with an independent consultant, and they concluded that if we do not increase our wastewater rates, there will not be enough revenue to provide the necessary wastewater and recycled water services beginning next year. In addition, the cost of imported water, so that is us buying water from our wholesaler, the San Diego County Water Authority, is increasing, and that cost must be passed along to the city. And then that it requires us to have an adjustment for our customers. What's the process that we go through? It is a, kind of very strict process in regards to setting rates for the region. We are governed by Proposition 218, which was approved by California voters in 1996. And there's some very specific guidelines that we do have to adhere to. The very first thing is we cannot charge more than the actual cost that it takes to provide wastewater and water service. Cannot make a profit, can't pay for other things. We have to only recover that for which that it takes us to provide that service. And as I said, we cannot use this funding, unfortunately, to pay for any of the park and recreation facilities, anything to do with any police department. Our services are specifically, and our rates are specifically for wastewater or water. Even within it, we have to keep our money separated, even though we are one department providing this service. The next thing that's really important is in regards to, there's a requirement by the state that the cost to each customer class is proportional. And that is a huge test that we have to go through a lot of times, is the proportionality test. And it's proportional to the cost that is to provide that service to that customer class, is that cost that they have to provide, that they have to pay for. And then in addition, there's also requirements in regards to communicating with the public, because that is an important aspect of that, and that includes a written notice. And I'm going to go through that at the end of this presentation also, because that's going to be forthcoming in the next week. At a very high level, I just wanted to touch base of the key parts of determining a cost of service. What we do start with is we look at the total revenue required to run our utility, and I'll go through a couple of those things of what that is. We then break out the cost by their function and also based on the demands of each of our customer classes. You'll hear the word customer class used frequently, and customer class usually refers to whether or not you're a single family resident, a multifamily resident, a commercial or an industrial property. And then we match those demands with the cost to provide that service. And then that is how we determine our cost of service by each of the customer classes. Many do ask us, where does our money go? The revenue from water and wastewater rates goes entirely to direct cost, including our largest expense is purchasing water from the San Diego County Water Authority. That's nearly $250 million in order us to buy water to deliver to customers within this region. And so the next part is to operate and maintain our system. And key facts about that, it's not just operating and what we need to do today, but it's also what we need to do tomorrow, that we need to be prepared for to ensure that our system is fully functioning every day, because providing water and wastewater services 365 days is not an option. It is what is needed in order to ensure public health. In addition, we have capital projects. Some of those are quite significant. I'll get into one later on, which is our pure water facility. And then we also have the water treatment and testing, customer service, providing billing and administrative services, the debt repayment, and that is because our capital costs require us to finance via debt. And so then we have the repayment of that. And in addition, the biggest thing that's coming forth that our department is undergoing is our pure water phase 1. So we have started off in regards to that. And so not only do we have the construction of it, but there will be forthcoming of having the operations of it. And then also replacement of sewer mains, because as many may be aware or not aware, our infrastructure is quite old. And so it does require significant investment in order to replace it and ensure that it is working, functionally working. We do this though to understand in regards to how to best utilize money. We don't just take it for granted that we go out and set rates and we can do what we need to do. We can do whatever we need to do with it. We are constantly looking at ways to ensure that we are doing what's right with the funds that we receive. One of those things that we've just recently done was we got low interest state and federal funding, and we were able to refinance an existing loan for the Pure Water project, and it saved us nearly $300 million. Increasing preventative maintenance extends useful life of equipment and infrastructure. So a lot of times we can't just save costs by not doing something, because that will require us spending more later. It is important that we identify what we need to do and stick to a schedule and do that. And then addition, replace. As our assets reach the end of their useful life, we replace and upgrade our water and wastewater infrastructure to ensure that we can reduce our pipeline leaks and breaks. So why should the wastewater rates change? As I've said before, it's the aging infrastructure. That is a driver that we have. We need to continue our routine repairs and replacement, fund future projects like Pure Water. And we've identified, based on all of that, a $14 million gap between anticipated revenues and costs in 2022 alone. In addition, it should be noted that our wastewater cost, the rate structure itself, has not been reviewed since 2007, and the wastewater rates have not increased in over 10 years. And so what we're trying to do is address the costs that we see coming forward in the rising costs that are coming forward over the next 5 years. What does that look like? This is a very detailed chart, and I can give you more information on this. It is up on our website. We have an overall need, and then the customer classes, each customer class. So as you see on these charts, you'll see those customer classes specifically identified, whether or not that's single family, multifamily. There's 2 parts to everybody's bill. There's a fixed charge, and that flat fee is actually going down in this period. However, our volumetric rate, which is in the right side of this table, is increasing. And you will note that the single family residences are increasing at a higher rate than other customer classes. That is primarily, as I stated, in regards to the proportionality that the cost of service identified. In addition, it might be actually easier, a little bit easier to look at what does this do to a single family resident. We did do a monthly bill. We know that the bills are sent bi-monthly, but this was the best way to get a good example through. We did look at somebody that does use on our average for a single family resident. We know people may be less and they may be more, but assuming 700 cubic feet, that bill looks like right now, without increasing our rate structure, about $40.52, and that will be going up to $47.64. However, after this 1 year true-up is associated with the proportionality, it kind of evens out over the rest of the 3 years in regards to between a 3 and 5% increase. In addition to the wastewater rates, our water rate adjustments are also necessary. The cost of imported water, so that's buying water from the San Diego County Water Authority, is increasing by approximately $17 million. And so we've identified approximately impact to each of the customers of about 3%. All we are doing on the water adjustment is just passing through the wholesaler increase. We don't have any increase associated with our costs. It's just for buying water. This is an example of what that looks through. You'll hear the term pass through a lot. It's actually a term that we use a lot in the Proposition 218 world. And what that is exactly what it sounds like, is we're passing through somebody else's increasing onto our customers because there's not an ability for us to absorb it. We understand this is a hard time right now with COVID. We've gone as long as we can without increasing. And so we are at a point that we do need, because we do need to continue the investments in the system to ensure that water and sewer delivery services occur every day. But we do have the ability to support customers. We have the bill assistance, which is our help to others program, which can be open to those that have qualified low income customers. And each customer, if they are qualified, can receive a credit up to $100 per month on their utility bill in a 12-month period. One of the things is we just want to reiterate is that we want to make sure that water is delivered and public health is protected every day of every minute of every day. This area of the city is extremely regulated. We probably have over 24 regulators that we must comply with on a daily basis. So how can the public participate? There are a multitude of ways that we do want to highlight. One of them is one of these town councils just like this. And so you can attend one of our virtual community meetings. We're having these throughout the month of July, or now that it's August, sorry, we started last week. So throughout July and August. We do have a public hearing notice that is required by Proposition 218 that is required to be sent out 45 days in advance. Those will be sent out this weekend. So you should be starting to see them on Monday of next week. You can also utilize, we have a lot of information and we keep posting more information on our website, not only in English and Spanish, but other language too. So that way, if somebody sees something and they need more information, please let us know. We want to make sure that that information is available. In addition, the City Council will hold their public hearing on September 21st at 2 p.m. Information on how to participate in that is also on the public hearing notice. And we also encourage everybody to follow our social media to get the latest updates. So this isn't a copy on the right of our public hearing. The public hearing, as I stated, is at 2 p.m. on September 21st. This is information on this slide, but it will also be in the notice that is provided. The public does have the ability to protest these, and that is defined in how to do that. The one thing that needs to be very clear about how to do that is it must be in writing and it must be received before the public hearing on September 21st. And so in addition, the public hearing and the protest must include the rate that you are protesting, your name, your information, and send to the city clerk. In addition, to facilitate that process, as you can kind of see at the bottom of the picture up there, there's got a little cutout at the bottom that's the same information. If you fill that out, and you can send that into the city clerk also. We just also wanted to open up that we are available to answer questions, not only our department, but at various community meetings. As we get additional meetings, we will be announcing them. Those are also on our website. And this is the list that we currently have of them. And so with that, that kind of concludes my formal presentation, and I'm open to any questions. And I do want to note that Nicole Darling, who works with the City of San Diego, has posted information in the website in the chat for all of you.
I have a question. Obviously, I'm assuming you're expecting a lot of unhappy people just because nobody wants their rates raised. How are we how are you addressing the thing that tends to get me angry, well, frustrated, is we're constantly being told to conserve, conserve, conserve. And it seems like the better we conserve, the higher our rates go. So it doesn't feel like even conserving saves me anything, you know, in terms of cost. How is that going to be addressed in this campaign?
I'll start, and then Sean and Lawrence will also add. I hear you on that one. You know, there are a lot of competing interests in regards to why is it best to conserve? Obviously, where we live in is one of the most important reasons. And when you look at climate change and all that aspect, so if you look at the environmental aspect, there's one reason to do it. And I got that. A lot of our costs are fixed. And so to ensure that we're still able to do that and deliver water, it does take us the ability that we do have to, you know, recover those costs. On this specifically, the only cost that we're passing through on water is the cost to buy the water from the San Diego County Water Authority. We have not added any other additional cost in regards to operation means on the water system. And then the sewer system, the issue is that it has been over 10 years since we've had a last rate increase. But I do hear you in regards to conservation, and we have to do in compliance in regards to Proposition 218. And so I'll see if Shauna would like to add anything else.
Yes, that's a really good question, and one I've been getting for many years as previously a general manager of a water district and now as the PUD director. And what I like to tell people is, in the water business, I don't like to say it, I guess it's a reality, that as we move forward and people have to conserve more, the costs are going to go up. Because I'm someone who likes to be very direct. I don't like to try to hide things or do anything else of that sort. So as Lisa mentioned, because our costs are significantly fixed, it's the pipelines, the capital projects, the people, no matter how much water people use, we still have to have those facilities in the same cost. So in a perfect world, we'd put all the fixed costs in the fixed portion of your bill and all of the variable costs that we have in the volumetric part of your bill. What would happen then, though, is the cost for the actual variable cost, the water supply, would be very low part of your bill. And unfortunately, that doesn't work very well with all the environmental interests and conservation as water resources go down during droughts. So what I do have to say is, unfortunately, yes, when people ask you to conserve, generally water bills do go up. I don't know what else to say about that to you, but it's something we battle throughout the state of California. And I know I'll get more questions on that one because usually people don't get a real direct answer like that. So I usually get a bunch of follow-up.
Well, I think that's a great answer, and I appreciate the answer and thought out. I mean, I know they're going to go up, I mean, duh, but you know, it's just one of those ironic things. So thank you for at least acknowledging the irony of the situation.
Yes, it's extremely frustrating. And I do want to say, like Lisa said, in this, what we're doing right now, we are only passing through the direct pass through. We're not marking it up. We're not doing anything else in the increase to our water costs externally this year. We'll be looking at a cost of service coming up here shortly on the water, but we're not there yet.
Thanks, Terry. Jeff?
Yeah, so the costs those are pretty big increases. I think people will see it as worthwhile if it gives us the capacity we need. So what I'm wondering is, much of the state is suffering from drought. Well, pure water isn't going to suffer from drought. Desalination isn't going to suffer from the drought. So by having those sources in hand, are we going to be in better shape and having a good water supply than other parts of the state?
Now, do remember when we're talking about the increase in cost so far, it's been on the wastewater side. And so, but however, on the water side, as we have some of those fixed costs, I'll answer the question since you asked it. Yes, our pure water, which is not part of this increase. We're not increasing for pure water at this point. We're just doing for the increase that we're being given from the County Water Authority. Pure water will put us in an even more secure position. As you've probably heard, San Diego County Water Authority has said they have adequate water supply, that we don't have to have a mandatory cutback within our region. So unless the governor or somebody comes down with a statewide requirement, you have a very, very reliable water supply at this point as compared to the last drought. I noticed Lisa took her mic off too. I don't know if she has anything to add to that. Okay.
All right. Tommy?
Thank you, Barry. I really appreciated the conversation tonight and the presentation, and thank you for all the information. We do pay an awful lot for water in this district compared to even some of our neighboring districts. But regarding the Point Loma outfall, because I know that was part of the reason that we began to investigate pure water in the first place. If we didn't have that exemption from the EPA, if I'm not mistaken, would our water rates not be higher, or at least our wastewater rates? And then the other end of that question was, obviously we're going to have the North City portion of the Pure Water Project heavily affecting our area, especially Miramar Road. And I was just wondering if you could talk about what we Mira Masons could expect when that winds up occurring, and how that may wind up impacting us.
Absolutely, Lisa. Are you okay with me taking the wastewater and outfall question?
Sure.
Okay. So yes. So what's happened with pure water is we've been able to share the cost for pure water between the water and the wastewater. So had we not done pure water, we would have had to figure out how to significantly increase the treatment at the wastewater treatment plant at Point Loma. As I'm sure you all saw on the slide and in various pictures you've seen, there's not much room out there in order to add treatment. So the cost would have been significantly higher if we had to figure out a way to pump that water, treat it somewhere else at a higher level, and get it back out to Point Loma. So very good comment. You're absolutely correct on that. In regard to pure water, since I didn't bring the right person to give you the right answer on that, I do know we are going to be doing a very large amount of construction throughout the northern portion of San Diego, and we will be causing some impact to some customers, but we'd be more than happy to have someone set someone up on a future meeting if you would like to have them come talk to you about the Pure Water Project.
And I can share a little bit on that because I was part of the community outreach committee on that. Miramar Road is essentially going to be dug up on one side or the other, all the way from Eastgate Mall to Kearney Villa Road at some point in the construction. And the construction team involved in the project has worked with us. They are going to attempt to confine the majority of the construction, if not all of it, to nighttime outside of the peak commute times. And as part of this project, because of the intense digging that's going on, when it is done, you're going to have Miramar Road pretty much repaved from end to end, because they're going to be hopscotching around different sides of the road, depending on where utilities are, et cetera. So it's going to be a long construction project. They're going to do everything humanly possible to avoid peak commute hours. You may drive over those roads and have some metal plates, but at least it won't be lanes closed for traffic. And at the end, we'll hopefully not only have pure water, but repaved Miramar Road, which I don't think we've seen since the 1970s.
Thank you, Bari, and thank you, Shauna and Lisa. I appreciate it.
Do we have any other questions? Okay. I would like to
We
thank you all
definitely
for being here
appreciate you
tonight.
having us.
Oh, thank you for being here. I know, as someone has said, no one is happy about rates going up on anything, but I can tell you from personal experience in a city that wasn't doing aggressive maintenance, what it's like to walk out in the morning to get your newspaper and there's guys are coming up in your front lawn, and boil water advisories become a monthly event. So we appreciate what you're doing. We know it's a tough job to be here tonight talking about raising our rates, but it looks like we're going to have a much better, more secure water supply in the future.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And if anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Have a great evening, everybody.
You too. All right, we're going to move along. We need a vote of the membership tonight. As you all know from our last meeting, our membership chair, Brandy, had to step away due to some personal commitments. We have a familiar face for those of you who have been with the town council for a while. Lisa Balderston has stepped up and offered to fill out the remainder of Brandy's term as membership chair. The board took their vote and we brought Lisa here tonight. And what we would like to do is ask for a vote of the membership. If you are voting in favor of Lisa taking over the remainder of the term, please do a little raise your hand icon, or if that's not working for you, go ahead and raise your hand in the picture and we'll take a count. 29. 10. All right, I see 10 yays. Do we have any opposed?
I'd like to vote yay. I'm sorry, I can't find my hand icon.
Okay. Thanks, Dorothy. That's 11. All right. Do we have any that are opposed? Let everybody take their hands down. I see Sabrina now. That's 12. Everybody clear your hands. And only have a hand up if you oppose the nomination. Okay, and lastly, is anybody abstaining? So we have a vote 11-0-0. Lisa, thank you. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you very much.
Chair.
That's wonderful. Thank you all very much. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to serving again.
Glad to have you back. You get to join us Monday night for the board meeting.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right, moving on to the next topic, government and community resources. First up is Jeff Stevens for the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group.
Yeah, I have a few things to report. First of all, the Parks Master Plan is on the City Council agenda tomorrow. This is problematic for us. It replaces the FBA fees that have built all of our parks in this community with a citywide fee that will basically be paid and go into a pot downtown where at the central level, they will decide what to do with the money. Fortunately for us, the Three Roots project is exempted from that. That money will still go into our FBA fund. And as long as we prioritize the spending right, we should be able to get our highest priority projects built. But in general, the FBA fees were designed to build all the projects in the community plan. To decide what the fee is, you estimate the cost of the projects, you divide that by the expected development, and then over the course of the development of the community, all of the public facilities get built. So you have a plan, a specific list of public facilities, and a way to build them. So all that just goes away with this citywide fee. It goes downtown, and then they figure out how to spend it. So I don't think it's a good change, certainly not for us. Anyone who wants to say anything about that, it will be on the city council agenda tomorrow, starting at 11 a.m. So in our planning group's June meeting, we approved the Headquarters Point project, a new project of a couple of large industrial buildings off of Water Ridge Circle. There was a presentation on the El Cuervo del Sur Phase 2 enhancement project. If you don't know where that is, if you go to the parking staging area on Serena Valley Boulevard at the west end of Los Penasquitos Canyon, and you walk under the road and over that hill to get into the canyon and look to your left, there's a pond down there, and that's where this project is. So there was a previous enhancement project there, in fact, that created that pond. Problem is, though, the Penasquitos Canyon Preserve Citizens Advisory Committee really didn't like what their project was, and planning group didn't feel they had the expertise to either support this project or oppose it. So we made no recommendation on that project after considerable discussion. We did approve the Penasquitos Canyon Preserve Phase 2 enhancement located in Lopez Canyon. Basically, that's a weeding project to get rid of invasive species that have moved into Lopez Canyon. That's a good project. Our August meeting will be 2 weeks from today. We will have the Epicentre project on the agenda again. So as I said before, if you think of things you should have asked tonight and didn't, that'll be a good opportunity to do it. We will also have the Aquila project. This is the 180 units of senior affordable housing that are going to be built at the Three Roots project. So this is the first time we've seen exactly what they're going to do. It should be an interesting presentation. We may also have a presentation on problems with the San Diego ADU regulations. These are what are called granny flats. Problem is, we heard a presentation at CPC on this. Problem is that the San Diego city regulations are much looser than what's required by the state. The state basically allows an accessory dwelling unit to be built in the back of anyone's house. But at the city level, they've loosened that enough that basically people can build apartment complexes in their backyard. So there are some issues with that. And we have a general problem, I think, that both the city and the state are proposing massive increases in development with little regard for the public facilities or infrastructure to support it. What we've always tried to do a planning group is to, when someone comes to us with a project, make sure that they do the infrastructure that's necessary for it, and that's our primary requirement. And we did that with the two big Coral Canyon projects, and so those are good projects. But the way things are going now, at the state level, they proposed regulations that will allow multifamily units to be built in single-family zones, basically tear down the single-family house and build 4 more units there. The city is proposing to add 24,000 units. It's about 50,000 people to the Mira Mesa community plan. Plus the ADU regulations. All these things are going on in kind of a panic to build housing that's kind of forgetting the lessons of the past. Like we had in Mira Mesa. Mira Mesa was first built and they started building houses and had no infrastructure. Unfortunately, we may have to learn those lessons again. That's my report.
Thank you, Jeff. A lot on your plate right now, a lot for us to have to consider. All right, next up, Joe Frichtel, Community Recreation Group.
Yeah, I want to support Jeff 100%. This park master plan is a friggin' disaster. It's a money grab from, am I on?
Yes, you're on.
It's a money grab from the city to put parks down south of Highway 8 in the underserved areas at the expense of everybody up north. And, I understand what they're trying to do, but to take money from a developing community and repurpose it down in a different area is the wrong way to go about it. We need all the resources we have up here in our developing community to support what is going on. We are never, in Mira Mesa, we're never going to have enough land to support our population. We're 80,000 people. We have 2 community parks. We're going to have over 100,000 people with 3 community parks. And so the city, instead of supporting that, they're making a change now where we don't need any acreage for parks. You can put a water fountain in a park and they're going to call that enhancement, and that removes part of the money that we need to support parks. So they're going about this the wrong way. And so tomorrow we need 100,000 people to call the city council and protest what's going on. I know that's not going to happen because the city is going to do whatever the hell they want anyway. But this thing what they're putting is really going to hurt our community, and hopefully we can restrict it to not impact until after the Three Roots community is built. So at least we can get that money into our community. This whole thing that the city is trying to do, they want to make San Diego look like Los Angeles. You know, if you live here and you want to have, you know, decent life, you better start getting involved in what's going on in the politics in our community, because right now you can put on a 50 by 100 acre lot, you can tear down the house and put two condos or two duplexes, which would be two houses on each half of that property. But that's not enough. The city is trying to make it so you can put 8 units on each half of the property. So this is the kind of stuff that is going to tear San Diego apart. And these politicians, they just got to stop doing this to our communities. We spent all of our money and resources building our communities, living here, spending our assets to make our communities better. And they just want to come in and trash this stuff. And it's really got to stop. So people need to get involved. I'm sorry that I missed a lot of these town council meetings. I didn't know they were going on. But I'm back on now. So
Good.
People need to get involved, and we need everybody in Mira Mesa to call the city council tomorrow and protest what is going on here. This is just the start of the end. So if we don't get our act together, we're all going to be, I guess, moving to New Mexico. I don't know. But yeah, it's a serious problem. And I don't mean to make a joke out of it, but these politicians are I don't want to use any bad words, but they're doing some bad things to our community. We really need to get their attention and stop this stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh,
All
and
right.
one more thing. We have a meeting next Tuesday at Lopez Ridge at 7 o'clock in the evening. Right now, it is the first in-person meeting we're going to have in 18 months. So please show up and attend. Hopefully the city's not going to change the rules in the next week, but who knows?
Can't tell. All right, Michael Spencer, Scripps Mesa Fireworks, are you here?
Don't see him.
Okay. Miramar College, President Wes Lundberg.
You're muted. There
I
you go.
thought I unmuted. Sorry about that. Well, good evening, everybody. And thank you, Barry. Thank you to the town council for adding me to the agenda or keeping me on the agenda. In the interest of time, I'll keep my update very, very brief and to the points of community interest. COVID update and what we're doing. Like everybody else, we're bouncing around and keeping an eye on things and trying to be responsive with safety and responsibility at the top of our list, of course. So we are, I think I may have mentioned this before, we will be reopening. The plan is to reopen fully on January 1st. Beginning on August 16th, we're going to be scaling up a return to on-campus activities. So that will be updates on which offices are open and which days and hours they're open will be posted on the website. So folks know when they can be coming in for face-to-face service. Nothing will change with the remote. We have gotten very good at that over the last 18 months or so, and we'll be continuing that. So no need for anyone to come to campus, but if that's their preference, they may. We have about 25% of our face-to-face or our classes planned to be face-to-face starting this fall. So those are mostly what we call hard to convert classes, things like the academies, Fire Academy and Police Academy, aviation, auto tech, things like that, where you have to have the hands-on experience. And we've expanded that to science labs and some other courses according to volunteers from the faculty to do so. So that's where we are with that. We're getting a lot of questions about what's required for students. If they're going to be doing face-to-face classes, then they will need to be vaccinated and they have to upload their records so that we can verify that. Some really good news. As of just about a week ago, we decided that it would be safe if civic activities follow the same protocols that we have in place for the college itself, that we can reopen the campus for use for civic activities. This is huge. As you all know, part of the mission of the community college and requirement by law is that we make our facilities available for civic use. And so we're excited to return to that. If you're part of an organization or know an organization, please get the word to them and get them in touch with me. And I can get them in touch with our Vice President for Administration, who is handling our agreement forms and things like that. So there's that. And then last thing that I wanted to update you on is the Equity Summit that we're starting this fall. We will have college-wide focus with a plenary speaker and things like that, and workshops for the college community during the day. But in the evening, our plenary speaker will be doing a lecture for the community. It'll be opened up. I think I've mentioned to you all that one of my goals is to see the campus opened up for use by the community. So of course that's going to be much more easily done after we're done with COVID, but for now we're doing the best we can. That lecture series is called the Constance M. Carroll Lecture Series. This is the first. It's a brand new thing honoring our recently retired chancellor, whom you all know, everybody knows, and we're honored to do that. So I'll bring more information about that when we have that available. And I'll end with that and take any questions.
All right, I see Jeff's hand was up first.
Yeah, so Miramar College usually has a booth at the Mira Mesa Street Fair. I sent an invitation to Sarah Haddad and it bounced.
Let me put my email.
I think Mr. Rob Knutson is causing a problem.
Jeff, I just put my email in the chat box.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
It looks like I got muted again. Yeah, so it sounds like you heard. The email is there in the chat box, so send that to me and I'll make sure that we get that. Our intention is to participate in that.
Good, thank you.
Joe?
Yes, I want to welcome you to the Mira Mesa community. In fact, I want to invite you to the Hourglass Joint Use Committee, the next meeting. And if you will talk to Mr. Brett Bell, who is one of the most esteemed people we deal with at the college, and you just tell him that Joe Fritchell invited you to the next Hourglass meeting only for 7 minutes, just so we can meet you. It would be my honor if you could just show up. We have so much to deal with Miramar College and our community and how we evolve all this and make it all work. And if nothing else, I'll meet you out on the new basketball court we just built outside, and we'll shoot a couple baskets or something. But welcome to our community and good luck.
Thank you, Joe. That'll be an easy win on a one-on-one basketball game for you. That's not my game. I'll get you on the baseball field though, and another story perhaps. But yeah, and you know, you just jogged my memory too, Joe. I will talk to Brett, and thank you for the compliments to him. He is nothing short of fantastic, Brett Bell. For those of you who don't know him, he's just a really good guy and very competent. But I just saw the announcement go out over Twitter just about 20 minutes ago that we're breaking ground on our women's volleyball facility area. So we're going to be expanding our sports at Miramar a little bit and have eyes on other things too. I'm sure you're aware of that, Joe, but for others to know, it's exciting, very exciting.
It's a beautiful sand volleyball thing we're putting out there, and it's going to really be a benefit to our college and the community here. So just another example of how Mr. Brett Bell, under his guidance, and a couple other people, you know, Dan Gutierrez and stuff, that we're just doing great jobs here. And we really want to continue that because Miramar College is so important to our community. And here again, the community with the college, we can make great things happen if we keep working together. So good job.
Absolutely. Thank you. Community is our middle name.
Wes, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. It's an honor.
We're going to move on now to our elected officials. First on the agenda from San Diego Unified School District, Sabrina Bazzo.
Good evening, everyone. Great to see you, online anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with what's happening currently, which is, well, summer school has just wrapped up, and that went very well. As many of you are aware, we teamed up with San Diego Foundation, and we had close to 25,000 students, I think, involved in the summer school program. The morning was academic in nature, and then the afternoon we had more fun camps and all kinds of different opportunities for the students. So the staff was able to pull that together very quickly in the spring, and we had great success with the summer school program. Going into the fall right now, we've actually, let's step back a minute. We've had 2 in-person meetings since, and now we're on hiatus for August. So our last meeting was last Tuesday. So we have no meetings until school starts in September. So right now we are still planning to go back full-time. There won't be like a hybrid situation, so the teachers won't have to be on like Zoom and in the classroom at the same time, in order to accommodate those students that aren't going to be comfortable, or, because unfortunately our youngest aren't able to be vaccinated yet. We are going to be offering what's called a virtual academy, and so students are registering for that now. We are also, very closely working with the county health department and UCSD, watching the COVID rates right now, and we're going to have, plans in place, first level, second level, third level of, preparedness in case, a school has an outbreak. So that's all being planned right now. And the district is working hard to make sure that we are ready to go when the kids come back. And finally, we had the superintendent search. As many of you know, we are currently looking for superintendent. Lamont Jackson, who actually was a principal in the Mira Mesa area, both at Challenger and I believe at Wagenheim, longtime area superintendent as well. He is our interim superintendent of schools for San Diego Unified at the moment. We are doing a superintendent search, and we have a committee of about 46 representatives from all different community organizations across the city. And we had our first virtual community input session I think it was last Wednesday, and it was the Mira Mesa and the University City clusters, and I found out about it the day before. So I was kind of trying to, get the word out, and we had about 40 people, I think, on, so it was good. I know Jeff and Pam had joined. I don't know if anyone else on this call, but basically, there were some glitches just because it was the first time, and they did have translators for about 6 or 7 different languages. So there was a little bit, it was a little slow to start, but once we got going with the conversation, it was actually really good. Right now, they're trying to develop a needs assessment, what parents and other community members want to see in terms of a new superintendent, what they think this district is doing well now, what we need to work on. And we were broken it up into small groups a couple times to talk about and provide input. And like I said, there was a lot of very good information provided. A lot of it, I think, focused around children being the whole child and not just focusing on math or English or science. Of course, those are all important components, but if a child isn't ready to learn, then they're not going to be able to take anything in. So focusing on social emotional learning as well, that was a big focus. Critical thinking, how important that is for our students. STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So a lot of those different focuses, but I thought the conversation went really well. We are going to be continuing to have virtual sessions as well as some in person. I think they just wanted to start with the virtual to just kind of work out some of the kinks. And if you want more information about the superintendent search and how you can contribute to one of these sessions, you should just be able to go to the website. I'm going to look it up right now and put that in the chat as well. And anyone is welcome to join either the in person or the virtual and provide your information. There's a organization, NCEE, that is running the virtual and I think the in-person search sessions, and they are wonderful. They're doing a fantastic job. So I think that kind of gives a really quick summary of what's going on. Does anyone have any questions? Pam.
Yeah, what's the overall timeline? When are we looking to have a this is, criteria for a superintendent, and then the board is going to be putting it out as announcing it, or timeline. When do we get to what?
That is a good question. And yes, we have a timeline. So right now, the community input sessions, both virtual and in person, will be running through the fall. Then the committee will be narrowing down the list of candidates to from 10 down to about 3. And basically at the end, I just know that the board is going to be the ones deciding the final 3 candidates. So the superintendent search committee is not going to be deciding the final, but they're going to be narrowing it down for us and getting all the input from the community, which is going to be extremely helpful. And the plan is to have that person in place by December. And Lamont Jackson is one of the individuals who is putting his hat in the ring for the job. So, but we want to make sure that we are looking far and wide, and we're, including as many people as we can in this process, as well as many community organizations, and getting all the input that, of course, will be helpful. We're also trying to develop from this the goals and objectives for 2030. So we had a timeline for 2020 goals, and now that we've hit 2020, past that, we're now trying to develop goals for 2030. So we're kind of doing both at the same time in terms of collecting this important information data from the community sessions to help us with those 2030 goals as well.
All right. Joe, did you have a question?
No, I have a comment because I missed the meeting last week when I could vote for Lamont Jackson. I don't know how many people are involved with the school district in Mira Mesa, but this guy is dynamic. He knows everything that goes on. He's going to be one of the best superintendents that we could ever hope for. The guy cares about our kids. He cares about our community. He's been in Mira Mesa for a long time. And so Sabrina, I apologize for missing and putting forth that, but if there's anything I can do to help Lamont Jackson stay on that ballot and get represented here in San Diego, I mean, that guy is dynamic and we really need to support him.
Thanks for letting me know, Joe. And because I have to kind of keep an arm's length. I'm not on the superintendent search committee because I'm on the board. So I have to be kind of objective, but yeah, Lamont has been a great community member. He's actually moving back. Well, I don't know if this is general knowledge, but he had told me that he was living in Mira Mesa, moved out of Mira Mesa close by, and now he's moving back apparently into Mira Mesa. So he has been in this community for a long time, and he's very well liked by a lot of the district staff, everyone I talk to, basically. I haven't heard a negative comment about him. And I'm just getting involved in this role. I know Lamont, but I didn't really know him, but now I'm starting to work with him, and yeah, he's great. But like I said, we are open to all all participants in this process.
Well, Sabrina, take it easy. I mean, you're pretty brand new to this whole thing. I mean, I've been dealing with Lamont for years, and the guy has dealt a lot of stuff in the schools in Mira Mesa and stuff. He knows what's going on. He's really up on top of all this stuff. So he's the best out. And I don't want somebody from Chicago coming in here. It's just ridiculous to do that to our community.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Thank
one of the
you,
reasons
Joe.
that we brought together this community input sessions, and also the committee is because we want it to come from our community. But in the past, this would be way before my time, but Terry probably knows, the district was criticized because they hadn't included as much community input as they should have. So that's why they're making sure this time that that is done. So there can't be any question that, whoever we choose is the best or the strongest candidate, I guess.
Excellent. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Next up, from Councilmember Kate's office, Luis Valera.
Barry, can you guys hear me?
Uh-huh.
Perfect.
Yes.
I just have one really good announcement. I don't know if any of you guys saw the city council meeting today, but we finally got the money approved in our budget to do both Gold Coast and Parkdale. It was part of today's commercial paper allocation. So we don't have a timeline quite yet on the construction progress, but stay tuned. We're going to start informing the community as that process happens. But I know it's been a long time, but we finally got the money to get it done. So want to thank working with the mayor's office on that one. It's been a long time coming. And obviously all of you who've stayed patient over the last 7 years we've been in office now to finally get this thing across the finish line.
We're going to change the name from Gold Coast to Luis Road.
I don't know. My uncle might get a kick out of it. He lives a block down, so we'll see about that.
All right. That is fabulous news. Thanks, Luis.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
All right. Next up, from County Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer's office, Evelyn was already here. So moving on to Mayor Todd Gloria, Michaela Ball.
Good evening, everybody. Michaela Ball from Mayor Todd Gloria's office. Joe, it should be Michaela Road, not Luis Road, or maybe both of us, but we both deserve the credit. Both our bosses worked hard for that, making that happen. So Barry and I have been in very close touch the last 2 months, focusing on 2 of the hot topics for Mira Mesa. The month of July, the mayor started a homeless initiative in downtown. It was the first of its kind. The city partnered with the county as well as all of the homeless providers that the city uses and focused on outreach in downtown. The success of that outreach was able to get 400 homeless individuals on the street into shelter and hopefully into housing. And so it's part of a neighborhood-centered approach that the mayor is looking to use citywide. It's something that we're working with PATH to get into Mira Mesa. I've been flagged about, the encampments going on at the Epicentre, so we're monitoring that. They just completed their outreach for July, so now we're moving them back to their areas. So we'll get a little bit more focus in Mira Mesa, but they were unable to attend other parts of the city during that time in terms of outreach. So I wanted to provide an update on that. We are seeing an uptick in crime citywide. I know Mira Mesa specifically has, seen an uptick as well. And so we're working with Barry on how to start a neighborhood watch group or something like that. What does that look like in partnership with PD and the city? I just wanted to touch on, the Mira Mesa specific items and how it relates to our office rather than giving mayoral updates. So I'll leave it to that tonight. But if you have any other city questions, mayor's office questions, please feel free to email me and I'd love to connect. Thank you.
I want to thank Michaela and also Luis, who's muted. I don't know if he hears me. They have been out here. They've been on the phone with me. They've been on text messages with me. They joined me and representatives from PATH coming down inspecting the pedestrian bridge, which has been a real hot spot and a source of complaints from residents on crime that they believe is related to a few homeless individuals taking refuge on the bridge. We've talked about some of the places that I frequently get emails about homeless encampments. Michaela has texted me and I've told her my phone's on 24/7, don't worry about it. Very early in the morning when anything of significance has happened. The unfortunate incident we had, the domestic dispute where a gentleman was stabbed, and she has been available anytime that we hear about something that has gone on in the community that's unfortunate and attracting attention. Most recently, that was this past weekend. Someone unfortunately passed away from an overdose at one of the apartment complexes. And she's been in touch. She's gotten us information from PD. And I look forward to continuing to work with you, Michaela, and with you, Luis, on addressing a lot of these problems and getting kind of a neighborhood watch on steroids going in the very near future. All right, next up, Assemblymember Brian Mainshine. Rob, I believe you're here.
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Sorry, having some computer technology glitches with the camera. Doing everyone a favor with no camera today.
Thank you.
Just three quick updates. As many of you know, state of California recently passed their budget. The Assembly member for 2021 and 2022, Assembly member was fortunate enough to secure $1.4 million for the 77th Assembly District for 5 public service programs. Mira Mesa is the big winner this year with 3 out of the 5. The RSVP program, the Scripps Mesa program, will be receiving $80,000 for equipment training. As many of you know, the RSVP program gives seniors the opportunity to assist law enforcement officers. They do vacation house checks. They do the You Are Not Alone, and also provide community crime prevention programs. So we're very pleased for the Scripps Mesa RSVP program. That they'll be receiving some much needed funding for equipment and programming to provide our folks with the support necessary to continue moving forward as we kind of hopefully transition out of COVID-19. Second, we were able to secure $500,000 for Feeding San Diego for the purchase of the big rig and a trailer. As many of you know, Feeding San Diego provides much necessary food for our region. And this equipment will allow the San Diego or Feeding San Diego the ability to continue their outreach program and providing services to the community and making sure we get the food resources to the neighborhoods and help our folks and families. Lastly, we were able to secure another $100,000 for San Diego Food Bank. And this will be used for the purchase of fresh produce. As many of you know, San Diego Food Bank serves over 350,000 individuals in San Diego County each month. And these funds will, again, go for the purchase of fresh produce. So congratulations to the community of Mira Mesa. We are very, very happy to be able to provide these necessary grant funds to continue our journey in our communities as we exit the COVID-19, hopefully here soon. I do want to piggyback some of the comments that Mr. Joe Frickel said earlier. We do have a couple pieces of legislation up in Sacramento. Don't ask me why. The Assembly member scratches his head. We just don't understand. There's 2 bills that are pending in the Assembly, SB 9, SB 10. Again, they kind of piggyback some of these rule changes. Apparently, Sacramento wants to make decisions that happen in the community of Mira Mesa, as well as many others throughout the state of California, allowing communities or homeowners the ability to change their single-family residence and convert that into a duplex, triplex, fourplex, sixplex. Wake up one morning and your neighbor's got a monstrosity next door to you. The Assembly member did not support SB 9 and or SB 10 in committee, and will not be supporting it if these two pieces of legislation make it to the floor. He has been a huge advocate, as you know, as a former council member for Mira Mesa, believes land use issues need to remain local, and we will continue to advocate that up in Sacramento. But again, keep your eye on SB 9 and SB 10. Those are two pieces of legislation that would definitely alter the ability to preserve SFRs and or, communities that have been planned out or continue to be planned out. So as I said earlier, Assembly member will not be supporting SB 9 or SB 10. So just want to leave it at that. And are there any questions?
Joe has his hand up.
Yeah, listen, SB 9, SB 10, those are like communist conspiracies. They are taking away individual rights and destroying communities. I can't believe that anybody in the legislature would promote something like this. I mean, where are these people coming from? They must just have so much money that they don't need to do anything for anybody. But these two issues, 9 and 10, will destroy communities like Mira Mesa.
I 100% agree with you, Joe. So as long as Brian is your 77th Assembly member, we will continue to advocate. He has never forgotten where he came from. He has not forgotten the land use issues and things that he worked on in the San Diego City Council. And again, Sacramento does not need to be making decisions on communities like Mira Mesa, as well as many, many others in San Diego County. So we'll continue to advocate that. Unfortunately, I would be remiss if I told you we would share your words word for word, but unfortunately, we're unable to do that. So, but please know that Assembly member is on the community side with SB 9 and SB 10. These are land use issues that need to remain local and not at the state level.
I see Marv and then Jeff. Marv.
Rob, I just want to thank you on behalf of the community of Mira Mesa and Scripps Ranch, obviously, for the RSVP funding. It's really wonderful. The actual volunteers will be updating Zoom call tomorrow. So I don't know if all our seniors have the facility to be able to get a Zoom call, but that's what they're going to do. So they're getting updated. So they're not back to work yet, but hopefully very soon. So trust me, we will take very good care of that money and spend it wisely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and please allow. I know the Assembly member has sent out announcements and stuff, so we're getting lots of phone calls and emails because people want to access it now. So, not to put the cart before the horse, we will. I would probably say between the 10th or the 15th of August, I will have more information to share, not only with you, Marv, but obviously with the folks over at the RSVP. We obviously have a few other RSVP stations, that are also receiving some necessary funding. Just an incredible volunteer program, essential to again the community and public service, and very, very important is keeping our seniors engaged and participating in our community. And so this is something, as many of you know, the Assembly member has been happy and participated in over the decades, particularly, when he was on the San Diego City Council. So thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you again, and extend our thanks. Obviously, Barry and Joe are both on the board, so we're going to find some wonderful home for that. So that's great.
You betcha.
Jeff?
Yeah, so you can thank Brian for his opposition to SB 9 and 10. I'm just wondering what the prospects are. Legislation like that has been introduced for several years and has come close to passing, but hasn't. What are the prospects look like this year?
You're right. I mean, it keeps turning into a chameleon, and it keeps changing the number and then it gets modified. You know, it's anybody's ball game. You know, the bill is sitting in the assembly. We're at recess right now, so things will pick up, you know, in the middle of August, and we will do all we can to advocate the community of Mira Mesa, Scripps Ranch. We just, you know, unfortunately, you know, many people in the 77th Assembly District, I have not found one community in the 77th that says, sign me up for this program. And we keep scratching our heads. We understand there's a housing shortage. We understand there's a need to increase and allow, you know, more housing, but, you know, your assembly member who was a council member, he, you know, we barely have enough infrastructure to support the existing, and now we're going to couple this and add this, and it's just kind of a snowball effect in our eyes to really kind of figure out and come up with a better option or an alternative. So, I mean, I you know, I just don't know. You know, I encourage everybody to reach out to other assembly members here in San Diego, advocate. Just because they're not in your district does not mean they won't listen to you. If you call them and leave them a message and let them know how you feel about SB 9, SB 10, as Joe said earlier, you know, the more people that call and voice their concerns, whether you support SB 9 or whether you don't, please call, send emails. Don't hesitate. And, you know, I receive phone calls up and down the state every week from all parts, either Bakersfield or Santa Cruz. And believe it or not, you know, yes, we don't represent them directly, but the impacts and the votes and the things that we do in Sacramento definitely impact everybody. So it's important to make sure that we are reaching out to our San Diego delegation and voicing our concerns. So I would strongly encourage everyone on the Zoom and phone this evening to consider sending an email to the San Diego delegation, as well as making a phone call.
Thank you very much. All right, last on our agenda for elected officials, but certainly not least, from the office of Congressman Scott Peters, Anthony Nguyen.
Thanks, Barry. Hope everyone's summer is going well. Lots of discussion about funding bills in Congress, including the bipartisan infrastructure bill that's pending in the Senate. And then just last week, the House passed 9 funding bills to address various things, including water, military, the VA, education, and transportation. And so in the interest of time, I will provide a link to let you know what's specific to San Diego, things including funding for a spinal cord injury center at the San Diego VA, funding to UCSD Health, as well as MTS and SANDAG. And so that link will provide all the different fundings that will come here to our region. The other big topic issue that you may have heard about is the eviction moratorium. Basically, Congress thinks the administration should make a decision in terms of the extension, and then the administration putting it on Congress to go ahead and pass something. So right now, basically, Congress is out of session, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. The problem that we're seeing is of the $47 billion that was allocated for emergency rental assistance, only $3 billion is being utilized. So there's probably issues with maybe renters not knowing how to apply, or perhaps the application process is burdensome or very bureaucratic. So the congressman will be working with our local and state electeds on what's going on and how can we fix this during this time. If you know anyone that's near the edge of being evicted because of being unable to pay for rent, definitely reach out to let us know so that we can get them connected to people that can help with that process. The other issues that we're hearing a lot, and you may have heard about in the news, is passports. With COVID-19 numbers obviously better than last year and people being able to travel again, there's just been a huge influx in terms of people wanting to get their passport. Oftentimes the calls that we're getting are people who book their tickets and then realize the passport is expired. Right now, so before COVID and in normal instances, an expedited passport takes about 3 weeks, and now it's taking about 12 weeks. And then you have your regular normal processing time of about 6 to 8 weeks, and that's now looking at 16 weeks. They are only processing urgent cases, so life and death matter if you're traveling for military service or if you need to go because of a business, or if you can make your case and let them know that it's a very unique cases, we can help advocate and bring that before the passport agency for them to make that determination. But if you're just traveling for leisure, for vacation, just to visit people, they're gonna say it's a hard no. But reach out to us if you have any questions in terms of your unique situation, and we can let you know if that's something that they will look at or not. And then I'll provide more information about that in the link as well. And then lastly, we are hosting a grant workshop with Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs' office tomorrow, Tuesday, August the 3rd from 3 to 4 p.m. It's gonna be virtual, and I will send the link if you wanna register. This is for anyone that's interested in learning more about the federal grant process, what sort of grants are out there, what our office can do in terms of providing a letter of supports and answer any questions about just the overall process of things. So I would include that in the chat along with my contact information if you have any questions, but let me know if anyone has any question now that I can answer. All right, thanks, Barry.
Thank you, and thanks for posting that link. I'm going to try to be there. All right, we're going to moving on to the open forum session. I have 3 people who have signed up. We're going to begin with Tommy Howe.
Thank you, Barry. I appreciate it. San Diego County Planning Commissioner Tommy Howe. As always, it's good to see everyone. I really appreciated a lot of the conversation this evening, a lot of the presentations, and a lot of the questions that we've heard tonight. You know, I'll be joining many of you tomorrow virtually with City Council regarding the Parks Master Plan consideration. I've spoken to some of the council members about this, not necessarily in District 6, but some of the other ones. And it truly bothers me, the bubble that a lot of individuals wind up getting into within City Hall. And so you wind up having a lot of these issues and decisions coming up, and they don't really seem to have much effect, as some of our peers mentioned tonight, have on our neighborhoods and communities. I have been working with the slogan, Neighborhoods First, for several years now. You may recall I was the endorsed Democratic candidate for the D6 seat in 2018. I used that Neighborhoods First slogan back then. I meant it then and I meant it now. I mean it more than ever. When I speak with my neighbors about things like this, regarding SB 9, regarding SB 10, you know, this community has an unusually lengthy opportunity to vet a lot of the candidates who are seeking this District 6 seat. And you have the opportunity to ask a lot of questions, to ask where we candidates wind up coming down on these issues between now and when the redistricting is ironed out. And I hope that you're able to take advantage of that. And I hope you wind up leaning on myself and fellow candidates so that you have answers and you understand where we're coming from and the values that we are bringing and seeking to bring to the San Diego City Hall seat. I have been speaking about Gold Coast for many years. I know many of you are aware of that. I know many of you here have been speaking about Gold Coast and Parkdale for many, many years. But it doesn't just end there. There's Saluda, there's Perseus, there's Jade Coast, there's Flanders. There are streets throughout the area that may not necessarily be critical arterials like Parkdale and Gold Coast, but similarly need to be rebuilt. And here we talk about money that we need to spend. We talk about finally getting money allotted for Gold Coast and Parkdale. And yet at the same time, the city is still spending $18,000 a day on 101 Ash Street. This was something that I spoke about when I ran in 2018. Now the city isn't going to pay rent on the city attorney's office in another building. I don't think the folks downtown and in City Hall have any idea what that feels like when it lands on the ears of our neighbors in communities like Mira Mesa, because they're behaving in a way that makes no sense and has no relevance to what occurs in our communities. That's the sensibility that I would like to bring to good policymaking in City Hall. I do not come from a government background. Many of you know I was on the radio for many, many years. I've worked as an environmental consultant. I currently work for the Rewild Mission Bay campaign. My feeling is neighborhoods first, because we are not being heard beyond the economic centers of Miramar and Convoy and Sorrento Valley. These are important economic centers. We have 140,000 of our San Diego neighbors who live here. Downtown needs to know that we're here and acknowledge the fact that we power these economic centers. We need to get our streetlights fixed. We need to get our roads rebuilt, and those are the basics. Hopefully the city can focus on that. That's the leadership I want to bring to San Diego City Hall and my Neighborhoods First campaign for District 6, and I hope you'll join me. My name is Tommy Howe. My last name, it looks like Huff, but it's pronounced H-O-W. My website is tommyhowe.com. I've got an event coming up on the 29th of August. I'll drop more information on that in the chat. Barry, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight, and great seeing everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Next up is Kent Lee.
Evening, everyone. Sorry I can't be on video. I've been juggling the two little ones to try to get them to bed. But just wanted to take a moment to swing by and share once again that my name is Kent Lee. I'm a candidate running for San Diego City Council here in District 6 in order to build a stronger, more compassionate, more inclusive San Diego. I know many of you already, but just as a reminder, I'm a first-generation Asian American. I've been a 15-year resident here in Mira Mesa. My wife and I are raising our two young kids. They are 1 and 3. Professionally, I'm the executive director of Pacific Arts Movement, which presents the San Diego Asian Film Festival. And I've worked on the ground here in the community in several ways. So from leading Boy Scouts partnerships with the Vulcan to bring Geology Day here for a number of years. I've served on the founding team of the D6 Night Market, with folks in this room. Also served as a board member of the Mira Mesa Community Planning Group for the last 8 years. So I certainly am familiar and have many thoughts on many of the land use issues that we are facing today. And then finally, I'm currently the co-chair of the San Diego Asian Pacific Islander Coalition, which is a collection of over 30 organizations working to combat hate and racism impacting API communities, specifically during the pandemic. I'm running for the seat largely at the urging of the community and really proud of the deep grassroots support that we've received, including from folks here. And our campaign so far, just as excited to share that we have outraised all of our opponents. And more importantly, we're proud that nearly 80% of our contributions are local here in the San Diego region, which I know for many is actually the flip number. So just happy to share more and connect with each of you about the campaign. Again, my name is Kent Lee. I'm running to represent San Diego City Council here in District 6, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Kent. And just to let everybody know, we have one more speaker in open forum, and we're going to trim down the committee reports to just street fair. Finally, in the open forum, we have David Bazzo, Department Chair of UCSD Family Medicine and the immediate past president of the California Academy of Family Physicians.
Hi there. Thanks for having me on. I was asked to come on to give a little bit of a COVID update with regards to where we are within San Diego County. And I can give some of the latest data, and then I'm not sure if it's appropriate or not, but I'm happy to take any questions as well if that's appropriate for this forum. So I think everyone has been paying attention to the news and knows that the COVID rates are increasing again at a rather rapid rate. And when we talk about rates, we talk about the number of positive tests over the number of tests that are performed. And presumptively, if people are having symptoms or they have been exposed to someone who is COVID positive, they will go and get tested. And we've been seeing a pretty steep increase, similar to what we saw during the last wave, the third wave, and this is now being called the fourth wave. And it is primarily due to a variant of COVID. Everyone, I believe, has heard of the Delta variant, which unfortunately has become a very contagious variant. And I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. First and foremost, even if you have been vaccinated, you may get this variant. The vaccine does not protect you from getting the virus in your body. What it does protect, though, is the severe illness associated with COVID. And unfortunately, greater than 90% of the people at UCSD Hospital, and I can talk about UCSD because that's where I work and I know the specifics there, but greater than 90% of the people that are becoming ill, ending up in the ICU, and doing quite poorly are the unvaccinated. The people, we do have a couple of people right now in the hospital that are vaccinated and have gotten COVID. However, the severity of their illness is not as high as those that have not been vaccinated. So vaccine, even though it may not prevent you getting COVID, will absolutely prevent, not absolutely, but has a very good chance of preventing that severe disease, as evidenced by those numbers that I've just reported to you. So I would like to encourage, as a healthcare provider and chairman of family medicine at UC San Diego, everyone to please get your vaccine. The next topic I think I'd like to cover is masking. And as you know, that there are different guidelines based on the county that you live in San Diego. San Diego County Public Health is the organization that is responsible for setting guidelines for our county. And currently, we are not in the severe form yet. We are not mandated to go back to wearing masks at all times, even if you have been vaccinated. However, the current recommendation is that people consider wearing masks at all times, particularly when you're in an indoor situation with others. That's going to the grocery store, et cetera, where previously folks that were vaccinated were told that they could feel pretty comfortable not wearing masks. The folks that were still mandated to wear masks in indoor locations out in public were those that were not vaccinated. However, I think what we are seeing in other counties, particularly as we go north to Los Angeles and a few other counties where the rates are going higher again, there have been a mandate to going back to wearing masking. In the healthcare community, we are all being extra cautious and safe. And so in the healthcare community in San Diego, when you go into a doctor's office, you will see that everyone is masking and asking our patients to mask as well. And that's for protection of everyone that's involved. And again, even though you've been vaccinated, you still want to try to avoid getting infected with COVID, because what we have found is even with vaccination, people can get COVID and then can spread it to others. And that's really the concern as we are looking at this pandemic spreading and becoming worse again. And I'm not sure if there's any other information that you would like me to deliver at this time or not.
Usually don't do questions in the open forum,
Okay,
but
that's fine.
this is very critical now. So I will just throw out there, if anybody has a question about the information that was just shared, we have a minute or two for that. Okay, thank you. That is some, oh, I think Pam has a question.
I just thought I would jump in, and I don't know if you could be a prognosticator or not, but for Mira Mesa Town Council's September meeting, do you have any thoughts about whether it might make sense for us to do that in person, or in the abundance of caution, because there are those who come to these meetings who might be in a higher risk category? Is sticking with Zoom still advisable?
Yeah, I think, thank you for the question. I think it is too early to tell. However, I have looked at the data very closely, and over the last 4 weeks, we have seen nothing but a steep rise. I would love to start to see that going down, but just the way spread, and particularly spread with the Delta variant, is working. If I were betting, I would say it would be best to go virtual in September. But again, I want to give accurate information here. And so, you know, you're asking me to prognosticate. That was my best guess going virtual, but I can't say that for sure without, you know, further data and us looking at how trends are going.
Thank you.
Dave, thank you for that important update. We've been hearing a lot of information, and it's good to hear from someone who's right there taking care of it. I see we'll take one more question from Marv.
Just wanted to give you an update in the chat. Ted Brengel is still in a care facility in Escondido, but he does have a laptop now. So his wife, Helen, tells us he's fired up. You don't know that he's got a problem. So his left shoulder and left leg are getting much better. So I did put his new email up. It's a little bit different than the other one, but it's tbrengel@gmail.com. So please fire it off. He'd love to hear from everybody. And the other one is tomorrow is National Night Out. So have a friend, have a party, have your neighbors out, and maybe get to meet somebody new. So it's a big event. And of course, this would be something that we can tie into the new neighborhood watch getting reestablished or redone. We had one years ago, but again, it takes horsepower and people talking. So it's great.
Exactly. All right. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Dave. And I think Tommy has a question for you, Dave.
I said, yeah, I just wanted to get Ted's email again. I don't think I saw it in the chat. What is his new email address?
You're muted, Marv.
Such a high, it's in the chat, but it's a T Pringle at, pull it up again. I think I already posted it, but that's fine. So I'll send it to you.
You had 2 B's in there, is that right?
No, just 1 B. Somebody caught it. So yeah, it's.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep.
All right. And we're going to end the evening with Jeff Stevens with a report on street fair coming up in October.
All right. Well, following that presentation by David Bazzo, that makes me a little more cautious, but we are planning on the street fair on October 2nd. That's 2 months from today. It isn't a strictly outdoor event, which is helpful as far as COVID goes. So assuming the city and county don't tell us we can't do it, we will do it. We are currently soliciting vendors to have booths. We are soliciting sponsors to help us support the event. All of our costs have gone up this year, some rather dramatically. So anyone who would like to sponsor this event is very welcome. Anyone who'd like to have a booth there is also very, very welcome. Terry Young has been getting acts for both the music stage and the community stage, and has had a good response to that. So at this point, we're doing it. It should be a nice event. Hopefully the weather will be good and there won't be any huge impediments that arise between now and then. And we will see you there on Saturday, October 2nd. You're muted, Barry.
Thank you, Jeff. And thanks to everyone who stuck it out with us tonight till the 9 o'clock hour. We appreciate it. There were a lot of really great topics that needed to be heard tonight. Looking forward to our next meeting, which will be a week later than usual due to Labor Day. Our next meeting will be Monday, September the 13th at 7 o'clock. And we will know a little closer to that date whether or not we will continue on a virtual meeting or if we will have an opportunity to have our first in-person meeting since March of 2020. It's been a while. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lisa.
Night.
Night, everyone.